fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions. Fact, don't ask, grab reactions. Jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused. Call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now. Y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here. And now, whenever we last left off with this series, we had Izuku Midoriya and where he's currently ended up. Izuku Midoriya has spoken with All for One, and through his efforts, he got to Island, taking over the head of security and making contact with somebody by the name of Melissa Shield. Now, with that being said, we do have roughly the next day with Izuku and Melissa. Both of these two actually sitting down somewhere and talking. Melissa learning more about Midoriya's strange predicament, and somewhat finding it difficult to believe. Wait, so you're telling me that whoever performed these experiments on you, yeah, they didn't actually give you a quirk? Yes. But by some unknown logic or way, they put an alien in your bloodstream. That's basically the whole story, yes. Okay, I'm finding this hard to believe. I understand. It took me some time to believe it myself. In fact, well, they're actually looking for me back in Japan. Japan? Wait, how exactly did you get here? Well, I flew and swam part of the way? I'm sorry, you flew here? Yeah. Japan is over 200 miles away. Okay. I said I flew here. In a plane? No. Roy explained to her what exactly he can do with his abilities. Melissa's surprised, talking about how that just sounds like straight up adaptation. No, it isn't. I mean, yes it is, but it's different from the usual or typical way a quirk would work. If I had to explain it to you, it's like... Roy trying to tell her one simple thing. Don't freak out by this. As he does actually set his hand on the table. Melissa watching as, at the bend in his elbow, it does actually begin to separate and part away. As he does just hold up his arm that way. Melissa just staring on in complete silence. And she does actually want to scream. Her trying to, as much as she can, hold it in. Especially since Midoriya is not feeling any pain or reacting any way. Her confused. Midoriya is telling her to watch this, as the hand actually does begin to start growing things out of it, and actually does begin to start moving. Melissa watching as Midoriya's fingers start to actually move, and the hand just scurries off, and away a little bit. It running around on the floor before Midoriya actually does have it come back over to him, grabbing it and picking it up. And Melissa does actually watch as Midoriya does reattach it, before she does actually just write that all down. Oh, my. Her actually just bringing her hand up to her face, and think for a minute. That was very disgusting. Um, how exactly did you do that? Without, oh, her almost losing her lunch. Talking about without the work of his own brain or nervous system. Is that a telepathy quirk or telepathic based quirk? No. Like I did say, that is what happens whenever body parts get misplaced from the larger portion of my body. They gain their own sentience and their own survival instincts. Since there's no immediate danger right now, it's not freaking out. It isn't in its scavenger mode or survival mode, I would say. Okay, yeah. Like I did state earlier, we are going to need to run some tests. And, well, I believe my father can help. Hmm, I'm not really too comfortable with tests. Okay, I understand that, but we won't be doing anything wrong with you or bad to you. Her actually standing up and holding her hand out to Midoriya, saying that she can promise him that no one will be doing anything bad, and that if they do try, then she will try her best to talk them all down, and even at least trying to throw Midoriya a bit of a bone, talking about how if anything bad does happen, she'll just call her Uncle All Might. Midoriya is shaking her hand as actually does have his eyes go wide. Uncle All Might? Yeah. Funny story that. All Might. The number one hero. Okay. I guess I can trust you, but still. Please just don't take me into white rooms or, well, the medical research wings. Those places make me very uncomfortable, especially with the strange visions I'm already having. Hmm? Visions? Yeah. I don't know. My dreams have been getting weird. My visions start getting weird. I'm seeing things from the alien's point of view. Then again, I'm just wondering if this thing's making me do all this, my abilities, what can it actually do? I'm kind of scared about that, you know? Hmm. Okay, okay. I somewhat get it, but still. You should be fine, right? Kind of. Alright. Now, Midori does actually wait outside of a certain room. As Melissa, she actually has pulled her father aside and tried to explain the situation to him. Somebody here is requesting their help with something. And Mr. Shield, he kinda just brushes it off for a minute. Until Melissa does actually talk about how this is actually somewhat important. Somebody by the name of her whispering Midoriya's name into her ear is here to talk about his quirk. And he would actually like to understand it a bit better. Now, with that, David Shield, he actually does stop what he is doing, leaving the rest with his research team as he does actually walk away. And he does walk outside to see the boy. Now, he does find this to be quite interesting. From looking at this young boy, he can already tell he has a physical mutation, as he actually is walking around Midoriya and looking at him a bit more. From what he last heard, this kid, he was a few inches shorter, and he wasn't as muscular. And then there's the markings on his face and his somewhat claw-like hands. Okay. I'm curious, young man. How long have you had your quirk? Hmm? Uh, Hello, Mr. Shield, this isn't a quirk. Hmm? Excuse me? Yes. Well, You see, there's a problem with my abilities. I'm trying to get rid of them. Hmm? Young man, why would you want to get rid of your quirk? Sir, this isn't a quirk, it's a bit more complicated than that. The experiment wasn't completely honest. Melissa trying to break down what Midori has already told her so far. Mr. Shield skeptical. But then again, if alien life truly does exist, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to say this could be a possibility. Especially with All Might running around, and from some of the other strange quirks he knows exist. Now, he is still skeptical about it. Alien life crash landing on the planet? This would have been news, wouldn't it? Everyone would have heard about it. The fact that aliens do exist would be a very big problem for them. And, even then, that's only if they're hostile. Now, they do take Midoriya's blood sample, except they don't do it inside of a lab. They actually do it while Midori is sitting down in the sleeping room or sleeping quarters they provided him. Midoriya actually surprised to see a window, and being able to actually look outside and reach out there. As they do actually take a blood sample, David Shield does pull the needle out of Midoriya's arm, as a little bit of the blood does actually start to somewhat drip out of the needle. And Mr. Shield does actually go to grab something to wipe it away. However, as soon as he does actually turn, he does watch the blood move. It's going directly back up and onto Midoriya's wrist. It's going back into Midoriya's bloodstream as the area does heal over a bit. And Mr. Shield is surprised. Wow, that was weird. Yeah, I guess. But, well... Sorry, it's hard for me to stay calm like this. It's just needles and other surgical equipment kind of make me feel strange. Hmm? Why is that, young man? Well, Midoriya at least is specifying that since their experiment didn't go as planned, they wanted to use Midoriya as somewhat of a guinea pig. And he does leave it at that. Now, Mr. Shields confused by that for a second. Why would they use Midoriya as a guinea pig? Now, this doesn't click right for a second. However, then it does make a bit more sense. Afraid of surgical things and needles. Oh, he's starting to understand this a bit more. Now, with that being said, Mr. Shield does take the blood sample away, and does actually go to begin to test it. Melissa's staying and talking with Midoriya a bit more, to try and at least calm him down and get him a bit more comfortable. If this guy is, well, isn't telling the truth, then he might just be crazy. If this really is just a quirk, then what is she going to do? Let's see. Midoriya, huh? Do you have any way of proving that this isn't a quirk? Um, hmm. Not really, except for what I do know about it. Hmm? And what exactly do you know? Well, I... I mean... Noya scratched on the back of his head, talking about how whenever he did make his escape, he did absorb the knowledge of a few people. Hmm? Absorb the knowledge? Yeah. You see, I noticed that whenever I take people's blood, I can sort of see into their mind. You know? Interesting. Yeah. In fact, well, I have the knowledge of a few people up here. Huh? Okay. So, I'm curious then. What exactly do you know about this thing? Hmm? Um, thing. That's what people usually call it. They've been calling it that for the last 247 years. Huh? Yeah, that's whenever it was discovered. Wait, what? This thing has been on the planet for over 2 centuries, and we're just now learning about it? Um, no. Actually, it's been here a bit longer. Longer? Yeah. You see, sometime back in the 21st century, 20th century? Like, I think the late 20th century. Some people were excavating somewhere in Antarctica, and their snowplow, it broke through the ice and fell. They all thought they were going to die. However, suddenly they just stopped, and they discovered something deep, deep hidden within the ice. Something that was there for thousands and thousands of years, possibly even longer. What are you talking about? Well, they found a spaceship there. What? So, I'm confused then. Where did they find the alien? Was it in the ship? Was it alive? Were there more people? Melissa actually getting a bit more into this topic of conversation. And it's quite fascinating to her. Dory just explained that, as far as he knows, the alien wasn't on board. It was the only passenger. And even then, well, documentation of where that craft isn't really public knowledge. But if he had to guess, it's still there, under the ice. If he remembers, it was, a couple 100 feet down there. A project to get it out would be too much. Nothing could hold the weight. Well, the ice wouldn't be able to hold the weight of something trying to pick up that object. Not even heroes could probably lift it. It's ancient alien technology. Wow. So you're saying if we got our hands on that spacecraft, we could make advancements to humanity? Probably even make leaps that would take centuries. Hmm? What do you mean? Well, I mean, these two begin a bit more of a conversation. Melissa talking about how they could have colonies on Mars or on the moon. That sounds nice. Now, Midoriya actually has a vision coming to his mind, and it is somewhat violent. Midoriya just falling over and actually hitting the ground as he does grab away at his head. Now, Midoriya does somewhat scream, as we do have what he is seeing. Somewhere on a planet. He does see it. The memories of this thing. As it is running around. It's on two legs and he can see from its perspective. He's running at high speeds. As he actually has slammed down a giant claw into a native creature. Something with at least an odd number of legs. And 4 digits on each hand. Now, Midoriya just watches as he does slam into it before he does actually just grab it and throw it into another creature. As he does scream and begin to try and hunt. Now, this will be when Midoriya he actually does encounter weaponized versions of these creatures. Or at least non-organic beings, robots, that do try and attack him. And take him down. He does feel these beams cutting into his flesh. And he does actually get angry. However, he cannot fight. He tried to run into one and actually try and take it over, or at least, at the minimum, take it down. However, that did not work. And he tried to run off. he already infected a native species to that planet. So, in a few minutes or seconds, he'll need to know everything he already does need to know about that species. And we do have Midoriya, who does finish his vision, as he does actually bring his hand down and it does completely armor up. Bones begin to protrude from it as Midoriya does actually grab away at the ground and move backwards, as he actually does go to throw out his arm away, him pushing Melissa's shield away, as he does move backwards towards the wall, breathing heavily, and the look of fear in his eyes, as Melissa, she was pushed backwards, her falling and landing on her hands, her almost twisting her wrist, as she does just look at Midoriya. There's the way he does look. He already began to start adapting to his environment, and he did seem like he was being attacked. Her watching Midoriya at least try and get back onto his feet and take a bit more, well, breathing. Breathing heavier, I mean. Now, with that being said, she does tell Midoriya to simply just relax, it's going to be okay. And Midoriya, he does try and cool down, taking a very, very deep breath, as he lets out a very deep breath as well. Now, she does ask Midoriya if his heart is okay. Huh? Oh, I wouldn't know. Hmm? What do you mean you wouldn't know? Well, I mean, don't worry about it. Huh? What do you mean don't worry about it? Trust me, if I explained it to you, you'd freak out more. Freak out more? You just completely panicked. Did you have one of your visions? Yeah, but that one was different. Hmm? I was on an alien world. What? Yeah, as crazy as it sounds. I was attacking aliens and then I encountered a robot. I already infected something native to that planet, so I was fine. I think I took it over. Uh, okay. Melissa's saying that she'll be right back. She's gonna go grab something to eat, asking Midoriya if he would like anything. Midoriya simply just saying that, sure, he'll take and ordering something like, let's say, pizza. Or at least, yeah, pizza. That does work. It's just simple. Now, Melissa would leave, and actually go out and get some food, stopping by and seeing her dad. Melissa being gone for over an hour, as she does actually talk with her dad about the results of Midoriya's test. And whenever she'd actually walk into the lab, there was Mr. Shield, who was eyeing away at his lab, well, eyeing through a microscope and actually going on more and more things on his computer, as he's actually finishing up a bit of research, clicking enter and cross-referencing Midoriya's DNA to something on Earth. Now, around, I want to say 50% of Midoriya's DNA does come up as human, or at least native to this planet. However, there is a component to Midoriya's DNA that is unidentifiable. And that's curious to Mr. Shield, as he does want to understand this, thinking that there may have been an error with his test, performing the research again, and again, and again. But the results are the same. In fact, they're the exact same. How is that possible? This doesn't make sense. Dad, what's wrong? This kid, or this boy. I ran a test earlier. He has no quirk. What? Yes. He's still quirkless. That's surprising, Melissa. So Midoriya doesn't have a quirk. But what about the other thing? This, well, Corky has. Did you run another blood test? I've ran multiple. And there's abnormalities in each one. They all point out to different things. And at this point, I'm not too sure. I've even tested his DNA against animals. But there's multiple things that pop up. However, one thing does remain the same: an unknown DNA source we cannot identify. I've looked through the sequencing of his DNA. It's wrong. What? What do you mean wrong? Well, I mean, the data, it's unknown. I've never seen anything like this. The structuring of it. And from what I've seen. What? Yes. It's odd. It's like someone engineered his DNA to be like this. Whatever this component is, it's strange. Now, Melissa does hear her father talk about how he does want to perform some more tests. Her explaining to her father that Izuku, he actually said he's not comfortable being around doctors. And she doesn't want to explain. He's very unstable. And if he performs more tests, this could just put him more on the unstable side. Mr. Shield talking about how he does understand. But hopefully, that young boy, he will comply. He's not going to ask very much of him. In fact, if he can join him in his research, that would most likely be more helpful. Now, with that being said, Melissa would arrive back at Midoriya's room, knocking on the door and not receiving a response, as she does actually open it to see Midoriya, who is actually still sitting up against the wall. And he actually is somewhat curled up into a small ball, with his head lying to the side. Her actually just watching that, as Midoriya does look peaceful. Wow. So, you really are something special. Her setting down the food on the table as she would walk away. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing night. I will catch you guys in the next part.